It seems to be like almost anything can grow here.
In tonight's Exploring Idaho, we take you into wine country where harvest season is in full swing. Idaho's vineyards are pouring their passion into every bottle. And as our Abby Wilt shows us, it's a craft that's as much about community as it is about flavor.
From a high desert climate to volcanic soil, Idaho might not be the first place that you think of when you think of winemaking, but local winemakers say it's actually the perfect spot to grow grapes, and the secret is the passion behind every bottle. From the vine to the bottle, turning Idaho's grapes into award-winning wine takes more than just a good harvest.
Basically, you make juice and then yeast does what it does and makes wine.
Idaho wineries produce about 258,000 cases of wine per year, according to the Idaho Wine Commission. That's enough to pour more than 10 million glasses right here in the Gem State.
The hard part is, it's just like, we're kind of undiscovered, right? People are like, oh, Idaho's got wine? Yes, we got wine.
Will Wetmore contributes to that. He started making wine in 2014.
I got the opportunity to work a harvest for Hat Ranch Winery, and just kind of kept showing up and learning and taking on more and more responsibility.
2 years later, Wetmore started Veer Wine Project, a Treasure Valley winery that was recognized as the 2024 Idaho Winery of the Year. Wetmore makes all of his own wine in Caldwell.
There's about 3,000 pounds of grapes in here. This will make about 70 cases, maybe even 100 cases.
But before the winemaking begins, it all starts in vineyards scattered across the Treasure Valley, where Wetmore works with local growers each harvest to find the grapes that best fit his wines.
I have really good relationships with local growers around here. Basically I'm in contact with them every week. Like, hey, can I come out and test sugars and what are other people picking?
Common grape types in Idaho are Riesling, Chardonnay, and Merlots, but Wetmore says you can grow about anything in Idaho.
We're actually an awesome spot to be.
That's because of Idaho's climate.
What we have going for us is we're dry, which is super important.
And its soil.
We have volcanic soils, and those soils drain really well.
The grapes are typically harvested anytime from April to October. They're then crushed and left to ferment with yeast, a process that takes months or even years.
I do either about 10 months for some stuff and then a year and a half for other stuff.
The approach looks a little different.
Each one kind of has its own personality.
Depending on the type of wine.
White grapes, typically we just make juice right away and ferment the juice.
For reds, it's longer to make the deep, bold color of red wine.
Red wines, we actually crush up the berries and make like a grape stew. So the grapes actually stay in contact with the juice during fermentation. And that's where you get a lot of the color.
After the grapes soak,
it's a workout.
Winemakers come in and separate the juice from the peelings and the stems, making what we know as wine. As
fermentation happens, the CO2 picks up the grapes and kind of makes a cap, like a grape cap, and then the wine or juice is underneath it.
The wine then gets transferred into barrels and eventually into tanks.
Fresh wine.
To then get bottled.
Just done.
And the bottle, Wetmore says, is a work of art itself.
My sister-in-law is an artist, and the stripe on our bottles is little excerpts from some of her paintings, which is pretty cool. Cork comes from trees. It's the bark of a cork tree. Okay. So they basically just strip the bark and then they punch the corks out.
But even more than the design of the bottle or even the taste, Wetmore says the reason he enjoys making wine is the way it brings community together.
If I open a bottle of wine for them and they're hanging out with me, then I can talk about it, and I don't know, it is such a community thing that it's kind of hard to beat, honestly. If you want to see what these grapes taste like when they come off this vine and into the bottle, right now is actually the perfect time to go wine tasting throughout Idaho. Winemakers say it's right after the harvest and right before the snow hits. For Exploring Idaho, Abby Wilt, Idaho's News Channel 7.